Good morning. So we're up to Shin Samach Beis Seif Yud. Also Tzuras Hapesach. A person made a Tzuras Hapesach. Tzuras Hapesach is when you've got two verticals and horizontal. Even if your pirzah, your gap, is wider than 10 amas, a Tzuras Hapesach works, and that is effective. Even if you put 4 poles in 4 directions, also Tzuras Pesach al Gabehen, muta, that would work. So even if it's all Tzuras Pesach, this is only true in a chotzer and a mavi where there are proper residents. But in a valley, in a non-residential area, lo mahani, that would not help. When all 4 sides have been constructed by way of Tzuras Pesach, in a bika it will not help you, but in a chotzer and a mavi it will. Says Mishnah Berurah, Sif Katan Nun Gimel. The shuv ain't nechsheves hamakom mahul lepirtzah, because once you've got a Tzuras Pesach, that has breached the gap. That would be okay. Even if all 4 sides are open, a Tzuras Pesach will work. Al gabein mutza letaltal b'soichen uchudifonas sheish lehem psochim chashivi is like a regular wall. V'hanimili b'chotze. When does a Tzuras Pesach help you on all 4 sides? Ratzalem kishenoflik k'soleh v'also b'hem kundeisim b'tzuras psochim. Dafkin a chotze, i.e. the walls have fallen down, then you put up some kundeisim, some poles, but Tzuras Pesachim in the form of a Tzuras Pesach, and since there are residents there, it's quite common for there to be lots of entrances. That's why they allowed it. But if it's a bika, then it would not help you, even if you have a Tzuras Pesach. Says the Mishnah Berurah and Zayin, la'afukeim hoya ha'hekav k'tikunai, ela sheyesh b'pirzas yosem yaseh. But as opposed to if you've got proper walls and just you've got some breaches, some gaps, and you want to put up a Tzuras Pesach, then that would help you even in a bika. Mahani Tzuras Pesach afidu b'bika ba'arba ruchaseh on all 4 sides. Afidu hoya parutz meruba ala omed. Even if the parutz is meruba ala omed, if you've got proper walls there, but the Tzuras Pesach is serving just to breach gaps, that would work. Okay, let's carry on. The Ula Rambam, and according to that, we're now back in the Mechaba. Ula Harambam, and according to the Rambam, Ein Tzuras Pesach moel apirtzi yosmi esa elim kein oimid merubal apartz. He says chumra that a Tzuras Pesach is only going to help when you've got a pirzah more than esa, in a case where the remaining walls is omid merubal apartz. When you've got omid merubal apartz, there's more walls than gaps. But if you haven't got omid merubal apartz, then a Tzuras Pesach is not going to help you. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Ches, avul be'esa moel afilu apartz merubal omid. If it's only 10 amas, i.e. not yosem esa, it's only esa, then even if it's paras merubal omed, it will help you. Afilu bebika, afilu kol ha'baruchos al de Tzuras Pesach. Even if all 4 walls there are a Tzuras Pesach in them, and sometimes it will work if you've got a pirzah yosem yesa. Kagoyim berach shlishi, for example, on one side, shel mov mahani Tzuras Pesach, afilu doifen ledoifen kule kashel mafulash or doifen which is open on both sides. Given shtei defonas shleimas, since you've got 2 whole walls. Okay, elim kein oimed for noch shdil ram. Says the Mishnah Berurah, you should be chosh for the Rambam shegam das hasmag v'hasmag hu kein. Okay, good. Now let's go on to Yud Aleph. Interesting sif, a very important sif. We're now going to talk about the construction of a Tzuras Pesach. So says the Mechaba, Mahu Tzuras Pesach. What exactly is a Tzuras Pesach, which is a very common device used in contemporary Eruvin. V'konomikan, you've got a upright on one side and an upright on another side. V'kona al gabehem, and you've got a beam going across the top of them. Afilu enu nogeh bohen, even if it's not touching, i.e. the horizontal beam is much higher than the 2 verticals. And it could be there are many amas in between the tops of the poles and the horizontal. So long as the height of each vertical corner is 10 tefachim, and this is the key point, that the horizontal corner is directly above the verticals. Okay? So again, Shin Samach Beis Sif Yud Aleph, we're saying what is the Tzuras Hapesach? You've got two verticals and you've got a horizontal. The important thing is the two verticals have got to be at least 10 tefachim, and the horizontal can be much higher than it, but it's got to be directly on top of the two vertical konim. Okay, let's do the Mishnah Berurah till there. Konim mikan afilu echad gevur mechaver harbe. If you've got two verticals, even if one of the verticals is higher than the other one, v'kona ha'elyon munach b'shipua, and therefore, if imagine you've got one vertical like this and one vertical like that, and therefore you've got a kona going on a slant, that's okay. That's still a Tzuras Hapesach. V'kona agabehen v'uadin alidei chavolim, and also it doesn't have to be a beam; it could be ropes and wires. That's what we use nowadays. Generally, we use sort of a thick, strong wire. Even if the kona on the horizontal on the top is not touching the two verticals, that's okay. Why? To Amin good asik, we apply the principle of good asik, which means you theoretically raise the kona, the vertical, as in you sort of perceive it as if it's going further up. And therefore the konim are going all the way up to the chevel, to the rope. And of course the rope is not hanging in mid-air without anything. It's fixed to something. So it's got to be directly on top of the konim. That the two verticals have got to be directly underneath the kona ha'elyon. And it can't be out at all. It can't be off in any way. Even if it's a little bit out, then it's possible. If it's not directly on top of, then it's no good. The afilim name a good asik. Why? Because even if you say good asik, which means you sort of theoretically raise the kona, halo yiyeh hakono elyon min hatzad v'lo mahani. At the end of the day, the kona is going to be on the side. Is because if it's not directly on, if the kona, the upper horizontal is not directly on top, because you're saying good achis, you're going to miss it, and therefore the kona ha'elyon is going to be on the sides and not on top of. And if the two lower ones are not sort of aligned, so you've got to make sure that the upper beam is on an angle as well. So for example, so what have we said? A Tzuras Hapesach is two verticals and a horizontal. The two verticals have got to be 10 tefachim tall, and the horizontal is going to be directly on top of these two konim. If it's off even a little bit, it's no good. That's one of the things when they go check the Erevin, that's one of the things they're checking. That's the very, very important point. And it can be much higher, but we apply good asik, so the horizontal can be much higher, but we apply good asik to the beams that they go up. But if it's off a little bit, so then you're going to have the beam going up, and it's not going to hit the horizontal, and it's going to be deemed as the horizontal is connected on the side, which is no good. And even if the horizontals are at an angle like that, that's okay. So just make sure that the beam across goes on top of both.
And they use
a wire, the hard wire.
Yeah, when they use the wire on top of lampposts nowadays, it's what the whole lamppost is
a kona.
The kona.
Yeah, and we see telegraph poles will come. I think you mentioned this soon. Yeah. Okay, good. Weiter. So weiter in the Mechaba, bottom line, ve'im chiber ha'kona ha'elyon l'shnei ha'konim. If you attach the upper kona to the two konim, or le'echad mehen min hatzad, if you do it from the side, then lo mahani, that's no good, right? Like I just described, it's got to be on top of, and if you affix it to the side, it's no good. Says the Mishnah Berurah min hatzad pirush shlei noson ha'elyon al shnei hakonim ha'imdim ela chibroi lohem min hatzad. But you just attached it to the side. Now, if you look at picture number 50, where is that? I've got picture number 50. This is getting a little bit confusing here. Where is it? Right, so that's, there you go. So that's a picture of Min Hatzad. Can you see that? Can you see, Chaim? So the 50, there, that's an example of this problem. Because the upper beam, the horizontal, is not on top of, but it's on the side. That's no good, right? It's not like a door frame. If it's aligned to the top, his makel, Yeah, if it's aligned, it's right literally to the top. So if you look at 52, now 52 I think is at the back of the sefer. Yeah, 52 is at the back of the sefer. Basically, you've got the crossbeam is sort of aligned to the top. It's minat tzad, but it's flush with the top. So the taz is mekel. However, says the Mishnah Berurah, kol hachreinim cholkin olav v'svirlu deboinin she'achevel al gabe hakanim mamish. It can't be. The achreinim argue with the taz and say that upper beam, the horizontal, has got to be on top of the konim. V'im hakona shlamala tochuv bein kona lekona. What if the beam on top is actually indented into the konim? Shenechka ktsas b'konim. Can you picture it? 53, right? Exactly. Yeah. But it's sort of indented into the tops of the two verticals. Like builders do. And the konim and the two verticals sort of stretch above it, right? So then says the Mishnah Berurah, then the prima godim is machmir to avoid it. But if the konim, the two verticals, don't protrude above the horizontal, it's just a way of securing it. Yeah, then shapidami, that would be okay, right? So for example, look at 56. You've got like that. You've got the horizontal there. It's indented a little bit into the two konim, but only a small amount, and the konim are not really protruding above it. That would be okay. Yeah, that's the difference between the previous case and this case. Dimikri azel gaboy. Okay. V'chein im noetz masme bereish hakona.
I don't understand the previous case. Why is it that one is when it's chokok, when it's in, it's not it's limachna? Because it's below.
Because it's got to be the Tzuras Hapesach has got to be two verticals with a kona on top of it. If the kona is on the side or is too low, is too indented down, it's no good. But here it's flush with the top, so then it's considered okay. Because the two verticals, look at 56, Shaoli. Can you see that in that case it's flush with it? That would be okay. Now, v'chein im noetz masmer b'rosh hakona. If you nail a nail into the top of the vertical, v'koshi b'hachevel, and you tie the horizontal across, shapidami to amunuch lamala neged hakona. That's okay. V'im korach hachut soviv hakona min atzad ad shebekrichasob, its wrapping hello al rosh hakonim goes on top of the konim gam kein kosher. That would also be okay. So that is 58. Yeah, can you see that? He's sort of wrapped it around. But either way, the horizontal is therefore on top of the two konim, so that would be okay. Im yochel, now these, can you imagine, the guy checking the area has got to know these halachas pretty well. Right? Im yochel lismich al ha-telegraph b'mokum Tzuras Hapesach, right, using a telegraph pole as a Tzuras Hapesach, I'm b'tshuvas my Mordechai, simen amadala, v'tshuvas shalom eshiv, ma'dur kama, chelik beisim, and pevov, peiches, v'tshuvas beishlam, chelik aleph, simen mem hey. Okay, so that's what you were saying, yeah, using all these telegraph poles and lampposts and things like that, ayin shom for all the details. Okay, then loy mahani. But if it's we said that if it's the horizontal is on the side, then we said loy mahani. But if you've got, say for example, you've got two verticals and a horizontal, and therefore it's minat tzad, like we said in picture 52 at the back of the book. If you put a new corner underneath that, then that would work. That would be okay. You put a new corner underneath that horizontal kasha. But you should take away the former vertical, because that's sort of marasai, and people will think that that's what you're using, and you're not. You're using the new corner underneath it. Okay, let's just finish off. I'm back in the Mechaber now, top line. The two verticals have got to be strong, sturdy posts so that they can hold a door frame. Even a light door frame. But the horizontal can be any material. It doesn't have to be so sturdy. Even gemi, even like a thin rubber or something like that. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Samach Vov, but it can't be blow away with the wind. The horizontal's got to be at least a little bit sturdy. For kosev b'sefer machzah shekel, the mikol mokum kill konesh al gabon mikonesh besodim. Okay, but either way, we're more lenient with the horizontal we are with the verticals. The oisen shebetzodim tzorich lizoy shelo yanichem haruach. or Kamesha Kosov, Hamagan Avram B'Simen Shin Samachim B'Siv Katan Dalet. That the verticals can't move around in the wind, because they've got a din of mechitza. And if it's moving in the wind, it's not called a mechitza. True, it can't be blown away, fully away from the wind. But if it moves a little bit, that's not a problem. Because the ikka mechitza is constructed via the verticals. If you look at 63, which is on the next page, I think, he says just in the first line, and therefore that's why we have very sturdy hard wires going across, which are very firmly entrenched, and they're not going to move around. And therefore you've got to make sure it's very taut so that it doesn't move around in the wind. So let's just do your base, takes literally 1 minute. Kippah. Pirush Sha'ar Ha'asuka Kippah. It's like an entranceway. If you look at the next page and all the pictures, you can see the sort of thing they're talking about. Yeah, those archways. Im yesh beragleha dahainu. Im yesh hischel hisagel. If you've got in the verticals before it starts to curve to create the arch, asar tfachim. If you've got 10 tfachim in the verticals before it arches off, muteris mishum Tzuras Hapesach, that could be deemed as a Tzuras Hapesach. Says the Mishnah Berurah Samach Zayin, Rotzeloma, Tzelom et Sarafin and Mokum ha'igel l'geva asar tfachim. We don't count the archway as your 10 tfachim. Shetzorach liyos Tzuras Hapesach. So if you've got an archway, so long as the verticals before it starts inclining is 10 tfachim, that could be used as a Tzuras Hapesach. Okay, Beseda.